what would the bare minimum requirements or expectations be on a husband, uh, for sexual intimacy to take place? That's my question to the panel. Anybody on the panel, what's your thoughts on that? What's the minimum that has to be there? I mean, safety certainly one. That's non-negotiable. If I'm not safe, if my heart's not safe, then physical sexual relationships can't happen. But look, I would like to hear, Thomas, maybe your thoughts, or Bev, Estelle, anybody.
Um, Kenneth, if I might just say, for me personally, it's that my husband needs to get into some kind of program instead of him saying, I will solve this by myself. Because a lot of times what happens is the husband says, I've got this, I can do this, I'm going to show you now, this is going to end. And we all know how that goes. So the minimum for me would be that he needs to basically join a program. And I just love so much what Veronica is saying, because when I also felt guilty about my boundaries in the beginning. And when I thought about that guilt, it wasn't that my boundary was wrong. It was that um, the boundary felt like something unfamiliar to me, So I abandoned myself for so long, and my need for safety and my need for dignity and respect, that when I finally set the boundary, I felt guilty about it. So I love what you said, Veronica. It's so powerful. It's to realize that you're not asking for too much. For your husband to make a request for him to get into recovery by joining a program, and it doesn't have to be Kenneth's program, but it does have to be a program, would be for me a minimum requirement. Anybody else?
I think the other thing about boundaries is most people I know in addiction dislike themselves because they're in addiction. So when boundaries initially come in, it's, you know, like the natural response is obviously often quite ugly. So like, you don't love me, how dare you, you're ruining our marriage, da da da, like that's the often the addict behavior response. But what I know with everyone who's kind of turned their life around is they've then at a later point appreciated the boundary. Thank you for helping me to get out of that place I was stuck in, because people in addiction are stuck. They use very toxic, unhealthy behaviors, and most of the times they hate themselves deep down because of it. So any kind of response that helps them to get out of that position is appreciated, just not often in the moment. I think often in the moments, it's like, well, this gets in the way of me acting out, so now I'm upset. But then the second they start down a journey where they actually turn their life around, they're like, thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it. It's helped me to get out of the spot that's made me dislike myself so much, because I think anyone who's acting out within a marriage generally has guilt, shame, regret. They feel like they don't have control, they've lost control, and normally makes them very much dislike themselves, although it comes out in a very arrogant, kind of narcissistic way where it looks like that's not the case. Deep down, generally the person dislikes himself for doing it. So in the moment, boundaries are not received well. At a later point, I think they're always appreciated.